wasting money on your kids, my dad insisted. Your sister needs help more. I looked at my daughter's face and said, my family comes first. Now they're furious that I chose my kids over them. That night, as the magnitude of my decision settled over me, Amanda held me close as I trembled. They're going to despise me, I whispered. They've been exploiting you for years, she replied softly. You just couldn't see it because you're a good person. They're not. By 7 a.m. the next morning, the messages started arriving, sent to my assistant's phone since mine had them blocked. Haha, very funny. Send my rent money immediately, Maria. Stop being childish and call your mother, she's upset, Dad. By noon, the voicemail started coming, forwarded by my increasingly uncomfortable assistant. You think you're better than us? You'd be nothing without this family. My father, his voice slurred despite the early morning hour. My landlord is threatening eviction. Are you really going to let your sister end up homeless? Maria, predictably dramatic. Bro, I get it, you're mad, but I need that investor cash by Friday, or these guys will literally break my legs. Alex, apparently caught up in yet another disastrous business scheme. I ignored every message. Their safety net was gone. 72 hours passed, and the messages escalated from anxious to downright desperate, then shifted into outright pleading. My mother sent a detailed email explaining that my father's blood pressure had skyrocketed, that he had been awake all night, consumed by fear over potentially losing their house. How could I do this to the man who had given up everything to raise me? Alex tried a different strategy, arriving at my workplace wearing a neck brace. Claiming he had been assaulted by furious investors, and needed $25,000 to cover medical expenses. When security removed him from the premises, he began yelling that I was abandoning my own brother, and leaving him to suffer. Maria approached things in yet another way, by reaching out to Amanda directly over the phone. She sobbed about her looming eviction, insisting she would end up homeless because her own brother didn't love her enough to help. When Amanda gently suggested that Maria consider getting a roommate or taking on an extra job, her tears vanished instantly. You've turned him against us, she spat venomously, before slamming the call. Then came their last-ditch effort, a staged family intervention. One evening, I arrived home to find my parents' vehicle parked outside. Inside, Amanda sat tensely on the couch, Maria beside her, Alex pacing near the fireplace, while my parents sat stiffly, their expressions solemn, as if they were attending a wake. What's going on? I asked, though I already knew exactly what was happening. We're deeply concerned about you, son, my father said, his tone thick with careful, manufactured worry. This isn't like you, distancing yourself from your family, ignoring our messages. We're afraid something is seriously wrong. My mother dabbed her eyes with a tissue. We spoke with Dr. Simmons, she added, referring to our longtime family doctor. He believes you might be experiencing a nervous breakdown due to work stress, or possibly even early onset dementia. The paranoia about finances, the abrupt personality shift. I almost laughed at the ridiculousness of it. They were actually trying to manipulate me into questioning my own sanity, just because I had set a limit. Let me get this straight, I said, setting my briefcase down. You all believe I'm having a psychological crisis, simply because I stopped handing you money? This isn't about the money, Maria wailed, right on cue. It's about how much you've changed. Alex interjected, you've never been this selfish before. We've discussed this among ourselves, my father continued, leaning in slightly. We think it would be best if you spoke to a professional, got some help. And while you do that, your mother and I can oversee your finances just for the time being, to ease your burden. And there it was, the real reason behind their supposed concern. They wanted access to my accounts. I walked to the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water, and returned to the living room. You all need to leave right now. Maria whispered dramatically to Amanda, this irrational anger. This isn't the brother I grew up with. Amanda stood, her patience clearly worn thin. I've heard enough. Ethan is completely fine. The only thing that's changed is that he's finally recognized how you've all been using him. Now get out of our home. The pretense of worry on my father's face slipped away. You don't get to speak to us like that, he said sharply. We're his parents. And I'm his wife, Amanda countered. The one who has watched him work himself to the bone to support all of you, only to be treated like a walking bank account. Leave now or I'll call the police for trespassing. They had no choice but to leave. But just before stepping out the door, my father leaned in close and whispered. You'll regret this, son. No one turns their back on their family without consequences. It was a threat, plain and simple. And they made sure to follow through. The retaliation started the very next day. My father stormed into my office, creating a disturbance in the lobby, until security had to physically remove him. My mother reached out to Amanda's parents, spinning a dramatic story about how I was having a complete mental collapse, selfishly withholding money that was needed for life-saving medication and critical care. Maria launched a campaign of whispers, feeding mutual friends lies about me, telling them I was abusive toward my wife and children, hoarding money, while my so-called starving family suffered. Alex escalated things further. He contacted my business clients, dropping vague insinuations about fraudulent activity. He showed up at my kids' school, fabricating a supposed emergency. He even went so far as to submit a false police report claiming that I had made violent threats against him. At one time, their manipulation would have worked. I would have given them whatever they wanted just to put an end to the chaos. Not this time. A fortnight passed, and the weight of reality started to settle upon them. Maria found herself thrown out of her upscale apartment, her luxury car repossessed, while she furiously berated the tow truck operator, insisting that her brother would take legal action against them. Alex's latest associates realized he lacked the funds he had guaranteed, which resulted in him sporting a bruised lip and receiving a stern warning.